But it was mostly just luck. I'll be honest. Most of the time, I think anybody that's really honest will tell you that it's the rhythm section. For example, when I was trying to play Amarillo by Morning a while ago, without that steel and that major seventh and the whole band, it doesn't sound like too much. But anyway, a similar thing on Amarillo by Morning. Blake Meavis said the steel did this line that I really liked, and I'd like for you to play it on the fiddle, and he hummed it, and he said it goes. So it's like when I played on Marty Robbins' recording of Among My Souvenirs, having that great band and that great voice, how can you go wrong, you know? And it's like when they say play like Tommy Jackson. Well, if you don't have Ray Price singing and Pete Wade playing the guitar and Buddy Emmons on the steel, it's hard to play like Tommy Jackson on maybe somebody's record where they don't have the voice like Ray or that great 4/4 shuffle band. So I think Ernie would understand that, how important. When that bass and drums is right and it's clicking, you can just sustain. You can just set your bow on the string at just the right time. Most of the time, that's all that's necessary. But what happens nowadays with all these guitar players, with all their effects racks, you lose that natural acoustic sound on those early recordings when they just played their guitar with an amplifier like, say, Eldon and Shamblin did.
What you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Now this is taking me back to Tulsa, and this is one of the reasons that I play the style of guitar that I do. We was recording this tune in 1940, and Bob Wills said to me, he said, I want you to do a lot of runs and stuff in this one, or something to make it a little different. So that's when first time I had an indication of what he wanted me to play. So, here's kind of what I'd done on the first course here.
Oh, it's just heaven. For example, watch the early Wilburn Brothers shows before they got the drums. Loud drums can kill you too when they're using the sticks. But the early shows, they had those real expensive guitars, and even Loretta, she's playing her own rhythm, and you have that nice backbeat, and Don Helms playing those nice chimes. And then a lot of times I'm just, but you hear it. You can hear it because there's nothing in that register. But once they start with those other guitars going, it takes up all that sound, you know, and so there's no, because I'll admit my first love was always country music, like what the Wilburn Brothers did. And then see, and they wanted to keep up with the times. As the years would go on, then they brought in the drums, and they brought in the other type of guitars, and then they brought in the voices, and sometimes Loretta and all of them would be singing with those tracks, and it was the beginning of the end. You can see it with if anybody happens to watch that RFD channel, and from time to time they'll show the old shows, and to me it's so much better. No disrespect to the other guys that they came in later, but Don Helms was a giant, and so was those guys playing those guitars. Those guitars, they're probably worth $50,000 now.
But it's been a good life. I honestly would do it exactly the same. I wouldn't change anything if I had my life to live over. I've met a lot of people, some of the best musicians in the world have afforded me the chance to play music and do what I love to do. And some of them are still very well-known people in this business. Harold Bradley, for instance, He's the president of the Musicians Union here and the secretary of the International Musicians Union. And you can't get no higher than that. And above that, he's one of my very best friends. And I'll bet you a quarter that he has played on more records than any other guitar player in Nashville, Tennessee. I bet you on that.
First, of course, was Pee Wee King. Then I recorded the first big million seller I played on was Chattanooga Shoeshine Boy with Red Foley. And then we did Patsy Cline. We did Johnny Horton. Jim Reeves, Conway, Loretta, Brenda Lee, Roger Miller, of course Elvis. I've worked with 25 people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jerry Lee Lewis. Actually did a session with Buddy Holly in 1956. My brother did 3 sessions with him then, and we didn't understand him at all. We did him rockabilly. Gosh, unbelievably, I looked through my book the other day, and there's a session by Wink Martindale in there. And I don't know if I'd have known you were going to ask that question, I'd have brought out a big list, and we'd have tried to catch most of them.